All right. Hopefully now everyone sees my presentation. All right. Let us start quickly with will be our content today. Basically, we will be looking into 3 areas or 3 main definitions that we are going to deep dive into it during the session. The first one is the deep work, and we will explain what do we mean by deep work, and then organization. Organization doesn't mean a company or something, but organization means how we organize things. And then the virtual work itself, how we are going to cope with now with is increasingly people that now employees and students and everyone that is actually moving now to the era where they are doing most of their work online. Okay, all these 3 components together will be the online productivity. It will be the definition, our definition for tonight for the online productivity. All right, let us start by the first one, and then after that I will comment on this statement. The statement here I extracted from one of my favorite books. It was a discussion between 2 people. One, they were in a data camp where they were actually trying to learn about programming. So the first one was telling the second guy his experiment there, his experience there, and he told me that this was the most complicated experiment or learning he had gone through. And then he said that half of the attendees couldn't complete the camp, the 2 weeks camp. They have dropped out during this time. And he made it as his last statement, his last comment was saying that if they can't focus, they will not learn quickly. So again, he was talking about focus and talking also about learning here. So we will come back to this thing, but now let us use the word focus and the word learning as 2 key words while we are moving through the session. All right. Now I would like everyone, if you on the next slide, I'm going to show you 10 statements. I would like you everyone to give a mark for the practice that he is doing on each of those statements. Again, this kind of pop quiz or spot quiz. So this is artificial work patterns that we are all using or doing all the time. Not all of us, not if I could say, maybe most of us, maybe most of the time, but let us do this quiz and see. The first statement here, if I'm going to read each statement, and if those statements are actually, you are doing it, please count number on it. You just put it 1, 2, 3 until you know how much you are going to score from those 10 statements. So the first one saying that we do what we like to do before we do what we don't like to do. If you are working, if you are if you are now sitting on your desk for some time, you start with the things that you like first, and then the things that you don't like, you actually postpone it afterwards. So I would like everyone from the attendees to just say, if he is doing it, put a mark 1 in front of it, 1 point. The second one is we do the things that are easiest before things that are difficult. If anyone is doing it, like me, for example, please put another mark here, because I would like, after we finish those 10, to see each one of you how much marks did he got. The third one is talking about we do things that require a little time before the things that require a lot of time. All right. So again, put your mark. The fourth one, we do things for which the resources are available. So it is not the things that we should do, but the things that actually it is ready for us to process. The fifth one, we do things that are scheduled, like meetings, before non-scheduled things. All right. Sixth one is we do things that advance our personal objectives or that politically expedient to us. Means the things that we can show up with. We do those tasks first, then the tasks, again, that we should do. All right. The seventh one is we wait until a deadline before we really got moving. I think this is a very popular one to all of us, especially if we have some students with here with us. I'm sure they will share a very good experience about that. All right. The eighth one, we respond on the basis of who wants it. If my boss wants it, so this is the most important, the one that I will give attention to. Even if I have some other important stuff or more important than the tasks that he handed to me. Is this right or wrong? Or we really do this practice or not? Right. The ninth one, we respond on the basis of the consequences to us of doing or not doing something.
Dr. Mohammed, I'm sorry for interruption, but actually we received some requests to raise your voice, please, because they have a problem to follow.
Okay.
Could you raise your voice, please?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
I will raise the voice of the computer here also. All right. The ninth one, we are talking about that normally when we look at the tasks in our hands, we pick the tasks that might give us a bad consequence if we're not doing it, and we do it instead of looking exactly at the right stuff to do. Okay, and the last one is talking about we work on things in the order of arrival. So normally it is like first in, first out, as we say in our business, that if you got a task, you write it down in somewhere, and then get another task, you partially forget about the first one and start working on the second one. So again, this is something we do or not. All right, those are our 10 statements. I would like from the attendees now to share with me on the conversation their scoring. We said that if you do any of those statements that you do, please put a number beside it. So I will be waiting to see. I'm looking now for the conversation. Okay, Ahmad Nabrawi got 10 out of 10. Wow, this is a very good one. Pierre Ibrahim got 1 + 8. Yes, 1 and 8. I'm not sure what 1 and 8 means. Is it 9? Iman got 6 out of 10. All right, good. What about the others? 3 out of 10. Wow, good. Seven out of 10. Safa, how are you, Safa? Hope you are doing well. Safa is one of my Alphas students.
How are you, Doctor?
Fine, alhamdulillah, everything is okay?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amani, 6 out of 10. Iman, 7 out of 10. Maria, 4 out of 10. All right. Okay, yeah, I need more contributions before we explain what those statements are. More contributions. And Rania Ahmed, 9 out of 10. Okay. Abir, 7. Yes. So, okay, fine. Let us move on. Let me now explain. I think there are some people in the waiting room. We need to admit all here first. All right, I admit all the people from the room. Is Hanan 7 over 10? All right. All right. So basically, what are those statements? Those statements are really, what can I say? The bad practice of using time and tasks. Those are our natural ways of usage of time in executing our tasks. By the way, mine is 6 over 10. Before that, it was 6 over 10. And I now around still have 3 bad habits that I'm doing nowadays. So basically, if you look at, let us take 2 or 3 of those and explain them. If we say that we normally, the second one, we say that we do the easy tasks before the difficult tasks. If we are really fresh, let's say fresh in the morning or having time, we should start with the tasks that is really important to us. Either it is easy or difficult. We shouldn't look at it from a difficulty or easiness standpoint. We should look at it as when we should really complete it. Tamam? Right. Let us go for the fourth one. For example, we do things for which the resources are available. Okay, fine. If we only do the things that actually we have resources for, that means that an important tasks or other tasks we will not actually touch for now, because they are we don't have the resources, or we didn't ask for the resources. And when the resources will be coming to us, might be late to complete the task at that time. All right. The sixth one is a bit tricky. It's all about us, but we have to sometimes we become a bit playful around it. We say that we do things that advance our personal objectives. Sometimes if there is an important email or a response that you see that everyone from different departments are on this email, you are thrilled to go in and put your answer, put your contributions there. While you might be at that time working on something that's more important to the company or your team than just getting into answering this email. But the problem is that these emails, actually showing it in front of a lot of people, will show you that you are really responding on time and you have a good opinion about what you are talking about. So sometimes we deviate, we go there for a personal objective more than what is really needed. Okay. The seventh is the most popular one, especially here in Egypt, and I think it's a phenomena of about the deadline syndrome, where we actually don't act until the deadline is just coming to us. Before that, there will be kind of procrastination about it. We really got in, off, and on, and not focusing on finishing it. All right. The last one, number 10, we work on things in the order of arrival. This is again another really, this is an indication that we don't have a to-do list where we have a priority. If we are just working on what we are having, once we got it, then there is no prioritize for our tasks. So, and of course, The most important things that we are talking about, will be talking about, or we might talk about it now, is that any of your to-do list, you have to start using ABC. A tasks that is really important and have to finish on time. B tasks less important, and C tasks is the more trivial ones. At the same time, some of the studies that we have seen before, we're talking about even putting the time in A, B, C slot. Harvard, one of the Harvard study in articles called Managing Your Own or Managing Yourself was talking about that you are not really managing time. You are managing your energy. Means that in the morning, when you wake up, you are in your strongest energy level or highest energy level, and then during the day it is less, and then at the evening it is less and less. So if we are talking about difficult tasks, so we have to do those difficult tasks really on those times. So A tasks in A times, if I would say. All right, let's move on. Why we are studying productivity? Productivity actually is inside a group of a bigger family called the management skills. And in a minute, I will talk I will give you a brief glimpse about what is management skills looks like. But for now, if you see here, let me get the pointer. Yes. Last year, this was your performance, but when the status of the company, the status of competition in work, in business, in life, in study, was between those two boundaries. This year, because of the communications, the advancement, the technology, the speed of information, the volume of information that we normally see, we have the boundaries has been shift to this. And then next year, it will shift more. So if you still at your current level of performance, that doesn't mean that you are in a steady state. No, you actually are lagging behind. All right. So at least to keep pace with the change and the new boundaries and the speed, you need to learn a lot of management skills, which called soft skills, and at the same time hard skills as well. Hard skills means the technical skills of your specific job, while soft skills means productivity as one of them, and at the same time all this nice family including the essential management skills, which is here it is in this model, it is three pieces: personal, interpersonal, and group. So if you are talking personal, we're talking about solving problems, managing stress. Inside managing stress, you will find another two important pieces, which is time management and productivity. And then developing self-awareness. You know yourself. You know what you are doing, how you actually, what is your preference, what is your personality type, all these things. And then interpersonal, when you are talking with other people, we go into how to manage conflicts, how to motivate employees, even if you are not the leader, how to motivate others, using the influencing skills, communicating in a supportive way, or communicating in an efficient way. This sometimes we call it the #1 skills worldwide. Also here gaining power and influence, and this is actually, we are referring here to the office politics. It is part of it. Any organization in the world, including kind of politics. Once there is a people, there is a group of people, there is politics everywhere. Okay, and then a group, we are talking about how to build team, how to lead change, and how to empower and delegate. And of course, empowering and delegating, especially the delegating, is one of the most important stuff for us here for productivity as well. All right, let's move on a bit. This is the model that I normally use when I teach or train on skills development, which is first, we normally assess the skill levels that you have. We did a quick assessment today on those 10 points. There is other ways to also complete the assessment, and then learn the skill itself, which we are going to do after that. Also, during the session today, we look at skill analysis. We'll see 1 or 2 cases, how people are producing quality work. And then for the practice and application, this I think will not be covered today, but hopefully someday, maybe in a training session or so, we can cover this to show people and let people do a practice by their hands. And then after that, the application means having this practice that they have learned in the classroom or learned now online, if I can say, and use it in real life situations. Okay, let us go into this one. First, let me see if there is any conversation going. Okay. Okay, some people are still in the waiting room. One moment. All right. Let's go for the first part. Again, we said that our session is 3 elements: deep work, organization, and online work. So let's start with the deep work. My statement here is saying that multitasking is a great way of increasing productivity. Again, I would like to see your answer in the conversation. Yes or no? Multitasking, when you are a multitasker, this is really a good thing for your productivity. Or no, this is really hurting our productivity. Good. No, false, no, yes, Amani, Ahmad, no, true. Layla said it depends on the type of work you are doing. For deep work, then no. Abir, true. Hanan, yes. No, big no from Amr. Badawi, false from Ao, Gamal. Arij, no. Hi Arij, how are you? Iman Riyad, yes. Yep. By book, Hoss is saying by book it's no, yet it's sometimes needed. All right, I would accept that. Muhammad Abdullah will say no. Hi Arik, I hope you are doing fine. All right. No, it may affect the quality of the results. Okay, fine. Let me explain this. So first, before we can answer this, let us define what do we mean by multitasking. Multitasking can mean performing 2 or more tasks simultaneously at the same time. It can also involve switching back and forth from one thing to the other. I have to admit I do this sometimes. And then multitasking can also involve performing a number of tasks in a rapid succession. All right. So this is what the research has defined to us. All right. So before we go on, the answer is multitasking hurts productivity. All right. Why it hurts productivity? Because of 2 things. According to one of the researchers that was looking at it, actually they said that there is 2, when they look, they have 2 groups of people. The one of them actually is focusing on one task, and the one is shifting from 2 tasks. So they said that they have passed through 2 phases. The phase 1, the first stage called goal shifting. deciding to do one thing instead of the other. They shift from here to there, and then role activation. Role activation. Role activation here, that changing the rules of what they are doing to the new task. So if you are working on a task and then you switch off this task and go to the other one and switch this on and start thinking how you normally do this because it's different than the first task, then here you are consuming time. They found that there is a time consumption, even if it is a low consumption, but there is a time consumed from moving from this to that. So what they found, that the first group that's really finished the first task, and then after he finished, start the second task in sequence, actually was more faster than the other group, the second group that is doing this in sequence. All right. So multitasking is not really a virtue if we are talking about productivity here. Again, just a quick practical tip. Sometimes I found one of my teams actually is responding every time I send something, email or WhatsApp message or so. He is trying to respond, even if not from me, from other people in my team. Actually, I found them responding to each other, and they're trying to show off that they are here all the time and ready all the time. This might looks good, but in some instances it doesn't. That means to me that they are not really focusing in what they do. All right. So it's good for impressions, if I can say, and we have something called impressions management in our field, and it's also important. But at the same time, for quality of work, no, it is not. All right. I should handle it. Right. Let us start by looking into the first one. This is Mr. Carl Jung. Dr. Carl Jung was a great psychologist who actually was a friend with Mr. Sigmund Freud, Dr. Sigmund Freud. He has a very nice habit that normally during his year, he has to go into this built tower in the countryside in Switzerland and sit there just to start focus on what he is doing. While he was there, he actually came up with a theory that is really opposite to what Mr. Freud was doing. Mr. Jung at the same time was also a psychologist that he has his own patients. He was lecturing in university and he have public talks. His statements in this say that if I'm going to leave myself for the people to go with the daily tasks, I will never do a real work. So he is selected to go in selected times, in chosen times there without anybody, just himself focusing until he come up with his theory and his book that was really standing out in front of Sigmund Freud in some instance. All right, this is the first case that we have. The second one here, of course, this is Mr. Bill Gates, the star of the last few months after his nice prediction about the COVID-19 and how the humanity is not going to deal with it effectively. Bill Gates has something called thinking week or thinking weeks, where he get out of his all routine work and go in a place, of course, a nice place, by his own, read books and start thinking. He did that during his first early days in Microsoft, and came up with, one of them came up with a really remarkable memo to all the company that the internet is going to be the driving force of that time. He called it internet tidal wave. Internet tidal wave. After that, It is now published on the internet if anyone would like to read it. It's a very nice one. What he did in this week, in this thinking week, that he was sitting there thinking how he's going to shape his company. What is the strategy that he's going to use? What is the driving force, technological driving force in the next period, so that he can use it for his stuff. All right, now let's go to the important stuff, to the meat here. This is a book called Race Against the Machine by two authors, two scientists, actually researchers, said that they have they stipulate there a very big case, saying that it is a time of a rise of the digital technology. This will transform our labor market in unexpected ways. They said there, two statements from the book says that we are in the early throes of a great restriction. A great restriction is going on now with this technology coming in. They said also that our technology are racing ahead, but many of our skills and organizations are lagging behind. Okay, this is a very important statement. I'd like you to focus on it. So what does that mean? He said that most of the bad news is that most of the some of the skills that we are having now and some of the jobs that we are holding now will not be available soon. Why will not be available? Because machine learning and programming and robots and softwares will take most of those jobs. In another book by Kellner, but called Deep Work, which is the name of that he actually defined himself here, he said that only 3 groups will survive. The first one is the high-skilled workers. And I will explain this. The second one is the superstars. The third one is the owners. So just remember the names and we will explain each one of those. What we are talking about, high-skilled workers. High-skilled workers here are 2 types of people. The one who can deal effectively with the machines, and the one who can deal effectively with data. All right? Those are the 2 people that will be high-skilled. So they will have good skills, digital skills, that let them analyze data and using the high-speed communication. All right? He talked also about superstars. Superstars, people that who have specialized and at the same time they are really, really good at it. Why they are referring to this? Because now, after the online work, I will put this inquiry on and let you think about it. Why you would listen to someone like me here if you can at the same time listen to Bill Gates? The geographic locations, boundaries are no longer exist and start to blur more and more. So if we start getting the same type of thinking, line thinking for the companies and the organization, why I use a local programmer and get him a desk and let him sit beside me while I can get the best programmer in the world to do some work for me. This is not only for programmers. This can also be for consultants like myself, for marketeers, for writer, for design, for teachers, for a lot of professions. They call this phenomena with the winner takes it all. Is that only the stars, only the big guys with the highest and quality of products will survive. Okay, and he has a nice statement here called that hearing a succession of mediocre singers don't add up to a single outstanding performance. One nice song, hit song, doesn't mean 20 average songs. So I would call this the death of the average. All right, so those are the second group which are the superstars. Now, what about the owners? Owners here in this context means the people who have funds or who can raise funds and invested in technology. This is how they are seeing it. They're seeing that actually it is the first time in the history that you don't need a lot of labor, a lot of infrastructure to run a company or to actually establish a company like Instagram. You don't need a lot to do this. All right. So those are the one who's really struggling because they will got back a very high returns, if I would say. Right. Now we don't want to have a black picture here. So how to become a winner in this new economy? Two things, only two things. The first one is the ability to master hard things, difficult stuff. And the second one is the ability to produce in an elite level, in a high level, in terms of both quality and speed. So again, learn the new stuff, the new technology, the hard bit of it, and then after that, look at the elite level, look at how you can produce quickly and in quality work. If we have some marketeers here, for example, they are all know what is different between the traditional marketeer and the digital marketeer. The traditional marketeer can do the segmentation, the positioning, all the other, the campaigns, the normal campaigns, activities that he can do in a traditional setting. But digital marketeers can still do what the traditional marketeer do. In addition to it, the digital stuff, the digital work online, the advertisement campaigns, dealing with e-commerce and all of these things. So if you put those two in front of each other, you will see who is going up and who is going down after a bit. All right. Now, let us define what is deep work. What we are setting here is that to do those two things, to master things and to do it in a quality way, you have to perform deep work. So what is deep work? Deep work is a professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your abilities, cognitive abilities to their limits. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. The writer here was talking about at least 4 to 5 hours distract-free, diving into what you are doing, into the work that you are doing until you get the quality product that you would like. This is versus the shallow work. What is shallow work? Shallow work is non-cognitively demanding, the logistic stuff, the transactions, send an email, replying to a message, do some small reports and those kind of stuff. So those he said that this is easy to replicate, and while the deep work is hard to replicate. Deep work also will get you into a state of flow, which means that you start forgetting everything around you and just focus on what you are doing. And this is really, by the way, a really satisfactory sense, if I would say. Okay, the final piece here is that about deep work and shallow work is about the time, is that the equation here, it will be producing high quality work needs time spent and intensity of focus. Those are the two pieces to produce quality work. But responding to all the people around you doesn't really makes a lot. Having calls, having messages all the time, that doesn't mean that you are producing quality work. Okay, now let's go to the second stuff, organization. Organizing here means how to put things in order. if we are talking about productivity, normally if you are under some timelines or obliged to do some work, you are under stress. Stress, why you are under stress? Because you have to focus and complete the tasks on hand. Okay. Now, in this new era, we have around 5 reasons or even more when we are talking about stress. The first one is about life and business speed. Life and business now are much more speedier. As Dr. Peter Drucker said in one of his famous books before, that knowledge workers don't wait for tasks. They predict the tasks and work on it. So this is another level of work that all we should investigate. Second, a lot of demands around us and insufficient resources. So we have to reprioritize, but this puts a pressure on us. Now, when working online, work and life balance and the boundaries are not there anymore. We are seeing people who are working and texting and writing emails and looking at their mobiles all the time when they are sitting with their families at night or so. So this is another stress on us. The old models and habits that we have developed before are not really up to date with the new technological era, which they called it, by the way, Industrial Revolution 4.0. To actually differentiate between it and the previous one, where the machines was replacing people. Now the technology was replacing people. And then after that, also about that our jobs life keep changing. I asked this question to a lot of friends before. Is your life the same like 2 or 3 years back or not? And most of us said definitely no. Definitely it has been changing. This type of quick change, if you ask someone to plot it down, it is much more speeder, much more faster and more frequent than our parents before. That if they are going to change a job or having a family affair or something, this is something that goes every 10, 15 years to do. Now we are seeing this every 2, 3 years. All right. So before we go on, I will just ask you, we need to extend a bit, maybe another 20 to 30 minutes before we finish the session, just to cover the rest of this second part and the third part, if you would allow me. I know it's Ramadan, but I don't want you to go without having a complete understanding of what we are doing on. All right. Right. Now, let us go into a bit of more practical approach while we are working it from here. So we have a process to organize your work. This is called a process for organization, which is 5 steps. First, you capture all the tasks that you have on hand. Then you clarify what you have, what you are going to do about it. Organize those tasks in different buckets, put them in different buckets, reflect on each one, what you are going to do when, after you do the action, when you are going to do the action, and then engage yourself in the execution of it. Those are the 5 pieces of a process, and I gave you also the reference for it. So the first one is capturing. Now we are talking about how to be more organized, how to be more organized, how to be more productive through a systematic way, through a process to be more organized. So by following this process, hopefully you will get to be more organized. The first one piece is capture, gathering all the tasks that you have. 100% of the tasks. Put them in whatever you would like, channels that you would like. Some of them you will put it on email or digital phone or something. The other you can put it in writing or so. The most important piece here is that to get all out of your head, all the tasks, all the small and bigger tasks that are in your head, you have to put it down in a place. Why is that? Because you are not going to really focus, as we said in the first part, until there is no hanging tasks going through your mind. By the way, this is psychologically has been proved in more than one study about it, is that actually once there is some hanging tasks, you will not be able to focus, give 100% focus, attention on what you are doing. Okay, and then try to minimize the locations where you capture stuff. And then you have, at a certain point of time, you have to start empty what you have captured. Then after that, we'll be looking at clarify what I have collected. If I have some emails, if I have messages, if I have a letter that came to me, all those stuff needs to be clarified. What I'm going to do for them. This part of the process is related to the stress. If you have the task is hanging elsewhere and you don't know what you are going to do about it, you will be under stress. But let us say, if you plan, you are going to reply to an email saying this, and put this on your task list, you are fine, even if you didn't complete it. If you are working on an important report and you start by stating in your to-do list that I will going to finish the report and will put 3 sections in it, and I will get the sources from the X and Y, then that's fine. Once you put it there, you are fine. So what they are saying here about is actionable or not. Some stuff doesn't belong to you. You will find some emails or some requests that comes to you that is really belong to someone else. So first of all, you need to see if it is something for me or something for someone else. Okay, and my second question will be, can I delegate this to another member of my team or my boss or something like that, or even subordinate for me or not? Can I defer it to in the future? Can I do it after a week or two? That's really not important to do it now. It's still, we have a couple of weeks before the deadline or so, or not. This is why we are saying clarifying. Then you have to organize to put those in meaningful places while you are working. Let me show you a demo about it. This is the way I normally put my tasks in my work. If you see, before I start prioritizing it, giving it into its packets. But here I channel everything into this one. Every time I do it for two lists, one for my work and another one personal for me. Once I put everything on this list, my mind is clear. I'm fine. I can have a good sleep at night. All right, then we're talking about reflection. How here to have an overview of all outstanding projects and loops. If you are talking about that, you are having a big project and you still need some time to, one action will not be sufficient to do all the work. Then at that point of time, we are talking about having to plan for it. Plan it in the right way, in a good way. Means that you put the nearest action for it and then defer the other actions after that. Okay, And then the final one is the execution. How you execute this? You execute this, and while you are looking into two different models. The first one, or two different things. The first one is that you identify the daily work. Normally, the daily work is one of three categories. Either a predefined work when you sit down on your desk in the morning, or you start doing your work, you know that you have a to-do list that you're working on. But while you are doing there, some other work show up for you. And then you have to decide if it's this really important or urgent. If you all know the Eisenhower matrix that Mr. Stephen Covey had put in his book, in his famous book, First Things First. That what is important, what is urgent. For us, the important is the one that is really will add to your future, that will really add value to it. The urgent is the one that has a very tight deadline, and you have to do it very quickly. All right. So there is some tasks that actually dropped on you while you are working. If you see this drop, you have to see if it is really I have to do it now. Then I have to put it in a place instead of something else, or not. And then after that, defining your work. Define how you are going to how you see the work is important for you, because the importance is relative. It might be important not important for me, but important for someone else. So I have to define it from my perspective. All right. The second one, the writer here says that it is about when you do tasks. You do tasks when the time is available, you have time available, you have energy available. When you are working your priority, and the context means that if it's an email and the context is that you are not in front of your computer, and maybe in a car, you are in Uber or something going into any place. So it's a good time to respond to some emails or make some phone calls. While if you are working on a bigger task, the context will be better to do it in front of a computer in actually a closed room. All right. Now let us go to the important part here. This is how you can look at all the tasks, the stuff that you have. Let me first get people out of the waiting room. 24 participants in the meeting room. Wow. All right. So basically, what we are seeing here is that you have a different tasks. You have a different tasks. They call the stuff here, stuff. You have to channel all of it, to capture all of it in different channels and put it in a box. They have all to funnel up inside the box. And then after that, you start saying, what is it, to clarify, what is it? And is it actionable or not? If it is not actionable from you, then you go into this way. This way is either you simply eliminate, delete it, put it in the trash, don't respond to it, incubate it. You said that this is really interesting. I would like to go into this party someday. I really love Yanni when he do his performance, and he might come to Egypt, but it's still end of this year. So I will put it there someday. Maybe I will look at it, and if I'm free and he's going to confirm on the concert, I might go there. And then some other stuff I read, I see that actually can make a good reference. If it makes a good reference, then I put it inside a file called reference. All right. Then after that, we say that this is the three words is not action. What about if it is actionable? If it is actionable, then it can be one of those three things. The first one, if it is a task that you can do it in less than 2 minutes, do it now. Don't put it inside your action list. Then the other tasks, if you can delegate it, delegate it. What will be left is two things. Either you have to do it, action it, and do it quickly in the next few hours, next few days, or you will do it, but next, maybe in a week time or so. You can define whatever you want. On the left side, what will be left is here is about the project, the big stuff that you're working on. You are going to do a book, you are going to do film some videos, YouTube videos or so. You put this aside and you start seeing what will be the next action. Once you know what is the next action, you will put it inside the action, either the immediate action or the deferred actions. All right. This famous, nice methodology, I got it from a very famous book called Getting Things Done by Mr. David Allen. David Allen made his first book in 2001. And he is a consultant. He is at the same time a trainer on productivity. And the book fly very high. In 2003, he made a second version. In 2007 or 2008 made the third version, and the last version was 2015 when he started putting the technology inside the book. This is really a nice one. At the end of our session, I will provide you with all the reference that I made my presentation from. All right, the last part. Let me see if all right. Talking about virtual. Okay, there is 5 messes about verticals. There's some misconceptions about verticals. We need about virtual work that we need to clarify first. The first one is that remote employees aren't productive. If you know the one that statement that's always goes through, if you are working from home, you are still in your pajamas. No, that remote work and remote employees can be productive as the office distant one. Okay, for the people Rita is talking about sharing the materials, I have no objection. Please refer to the university here to get from it a copy. For me, I'm fine with sharing a copy with you. All right. The second one is remote employees need to be carefully monitored. That if they are not under our hands, we have to make sure that they are not playing around, fooling around. No, it's all about outcome based. Outcome based. If you did give someone a task, either he is 20 centimeters or 1 meter beside you or 100 kilometers away from you, you are just going to get an outcome. Get the outcome and see it's assessed based on the quality of the outcome, nothing else. Third one is looking for remote work ruins company culture. I would say for this one, this is a misconception. You still can do a lot online. You still can do events, outings online. By the way, this now is one of the new trends there, that you can get pizza outings that go into your members of your team at the same time, and you will all be online. And there is some rules when you start meetings, what you should do there. And then after that, there is managers can't work remotely because they need people around them and need actually to direct them all the time. No, by messages, by communication, by emails, you can still direct and supervise your team members. And then the fifth one is remote work threatens data privacy. No, data privacy will not be a problem also here, because we have something called IT security, data security, that actually doesn't bound with a place to be secured. All right. Now let me shift to the other part, is how we would as employees start getting acquainted with the new work. From my personal experience, this is my third month working from home. Third month of fully online remote work. and the number of deliverables that I have made is massive. It's even more bigger, more larger than when I was traveling all the time as a consultant, doing attending meeting here and there. I'm still attending meetings. I'm still doing my work while I'm sitting here, and I'm doing it even more efficiently. So now I put this like a kind of 7 habits. So let's start with the first one for you. The first one, dress for the home office. You shouldn't sit down in a very pajamas, if we say that. This is the first one. When you start dressing in the right dress code, you don't need to go into fully official about it, but something that is different than what you are really sitting and resting at home is important. The second one is dedicate workspace. Have your own workspace, dedicated area of work. My recommendation will go for a desk that you should always sit on and have all your stuff in. Creating this habit makes a big difference. And the third one is sitting on your desk. Don't take your calls in bed. Don't take your calls on your lazy chairs. It's better to do this while you are sitting. And then there is a lot of tools, digital tools that is actually inventing now every day. And once you start getting yourself comfortable with it, you will find the work is easy. So please, let us start doing this quickly. Use those quickly, and then steer away from the distractions. Okay, again, I have to admit something. Sometimes when I'm working, I'm just looking at my Facebook, doing this thing about the Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or something, or look at something on YouTube. This is something that we all has to stop. You can do your work in chunks. If you are going into a normal work, it is 90 minutes chunk, and then you got a break, and then another 90 minutes chunks. Or if you are going really into a deep work, it is 3 to 4 hours chunks, big chunks, which means bigger breaks in between. All right, breaks doesn't mean you are sitting on the same place looking on YouTube. Breaks means getting out of your desk on your space, moving around, doing something, eating, praying, sitting, something like this, before you get back again. And then after that, you need to start putting clear boundaries. That you are working now, you have to have a door that you can close while you are working. Of course, I can't say that if you have some kids that you can keep them away all the time, especially for the small kids. But try as much as you can, but because this is an important. You're still at work, and you have to give them something before for your salary. Okay, the final one in the 7 habits will be end your work day. If it is 4 or 5 at the evening, stop work at 4 or 5. Finish your work, close down. If you got some messages that's not important, leave it for the second day. Or if it is tagging in your mind, put it in writing in something and forget about it. Don't let others know that you are available 24/7. If you are available all the time, you will make yourself burn out quickly. You will burn out, even if you are home. You have to make sure all of these things. Some of it are personal experience. When I really start doing it and stop this habit, things get a bit better. Right. The last piece in our session will be about the virtual teams. Yeah, also some work habits that you need to consider. You need to consider the normal stuff that you do if you are working in a company, that your physical and mental health, you have to protect it, especially in the COVID-19 time. Career goals and paths, you have also to look at it. Family and relationships, this is also important. Even if the situation is not a perfect situation, but I found this as a great opportunity to tighten up your relationship with your partners, with your kids, with your family members, parents, or so. You don't need to visit the people that's in other areas, but at least you have a small family time that is can be available for you now and can be available forever. All right. So this is about the virtual work. If we're talking about virtual work, it is the definition that we are moving now, and the trend now. It is not. It is about a research that made in 2009 and another one in 2005. They were seeing this trend. The trend was saying that we are moving from working professionals that actually are working in a close proximity to each other into that's staying anywhere else in the world. And this we call it distributed work. This distributed work is becoming faster, easier, and more efficient. This is in 2005 and 2009. They are seeing these trends. What happened is that we are now in an era called or waiting to see in the new normal. What is the new normal? The different ways of looking into work, the different ways that the customers will behave, the different ways that our supplies will come in, the different ways that our business models, the company's business models will change. The traditional ways of looking at it will be totally different. If we are in educational context now, and some of our students are here and they have seen that you can deliver stuff online, you can deliver an important certification and education online, would they still be interested in going into classes again in our schools? Are our consumers that actually now get acquainted to get their stuff online delivered to their place? They called it milk runs, by the way, or last mile delivery. Are they will be looking after the coronavirus, the pandemic, to go to the supermarkets and fix this stuff? Some of them, yes. Some of them will not be interested in this anymore. So this is how the technology will change. So what happened at the end of the day is that the COVID-19 actually speed up those technological trends. If they were going to be, will take around another 5 to 10 years to be the normal habits of us, they sped it up now, and they are now here and moving. Okay, so what is a team? What is a virtual team? A team is a small number of individuals with different skill sets that are all committed to a common goal and agreed on one approach to do this work, task, or a goal. A virtual team are exactly the same definition of the normal team, but they are not bound with organization. We're inside an organization. They are dispersed either across space or time or both. So there is different time, different space. The last part of my talk is about this is the characteristics needed and the elements needed to have an efficient virtual team working together. Any change in the process is built on 3 things: people, process, and technology. Now, if we are talking about this model for virtual teams, you will find something like that the people and about efficiency of their work depends on the team selection, the reward structure, the training, and the objectives. The processes is about alignment, the structure of the processes, the performance, how we are going to be measured, and the facilitation type. And then the technology is about the selection, the security, the selection of the software, the communication tools, the security measures there, the locations, the training, all those things. So this is basically how you can combine a team and make it and get a quality output out of it. Finally, I would like to thank you. This is for the people who are interested to know more about it. These are my main 3 references that I built my session on it. The first one is The Deep Work, a book by Cal Newport. He's a doctor in Georgetown University, and this is his 4th or 5th book. The other one that is I didn't mention here, I didn't use it for today, but I really recommend for everyone, called So Good They Can't Ignore You. So Good They Can't Ignore You. This is another book. He is discussing there how to master things, and if the passion about a profession really is all about passion or not. The second book called where I put you all the organization part is called Getting Things Done, David Allen. This is a new version, 2015 updated version. The third one is one of the Pearson books that we are using in the university from time to time, at least for me in my part, is called Developing Management Skills. David Witten and Kim Cameron. This is a very good book, which the first part where I talked about the management skills, the wheel of the management skills, all of it, and the model, how to build a skill. I got it from book. Even the statements of the part-time management is there. It's really one of the few books that you will find give you a lot of practical tips and on research based.